Ready? Hey there, how there, ho there. It's Jeff Diamond. It's April 27th, 2015, and this past day, well, Monday, I went to my grandmother's funeral. For those of you who didn't know, last Tuesday night, Grandma Diamond died peacefully, and then Wednesday morning, I got a phone call from Mom that woke me up, but that's alright. First and foremost, if you've been to the funeral or the visitation on Sunday and know about my Facebook or YouTube page, thank you for watching this. I will try to make it as short as I can. Basically, I just got back from Platteville, so I'm back on the grid, so to speak. Basically, a lot of people came to see Grandma Diamond. There was a 4-hour visitation, and about 115 people came, I bet. Anyway, what happened? So everyone was like sharing stories and all that. I had to go to the funeral home an hour before visitation, and they spread out. They had nice flowers, and they had some pictures of Grandma and her grandchildren and her great-grandchildren. Unfortunately, on that bulletin board of the great-grandchildren, there were a lot of Aunt Carol and her grandchildren, and not really enough of either Diamond's Uncle Glenn or Dad's grandkids. Of course, my niece and nephew and a few other kids, Ashlyn, Stephen, and Mila. There was a lack of pictures, but there was a booklet just past the casket of the stuff my mom, who always is good with scrapbooking, did of her. I think it was when she turned 93. It was 3 years ago, because my nephew wasn't born yet. My nephew was born. Oh yeah, that's right. My nephew was just born in January 2012. So Bentley would have been 2 months old. And Victoria was 2 and a bit. So I looked at every grandchild had a thing about Grandma Diamond, and it was amazing and all that, to see how interested in their lives Grandma Diamond was. Grandma really helped out a lot with my Uncle Glenn and Ivy, my parents, and Uncle John and Aunt Carol, especially with the kids and times like homework and all that. I wish you would have heard the funeral thing, but I didn't really want to tape it because I could have gotten in trouble. But anyhow, so basically, I wanted to do a funeral piece. Like I left Saturday night for the farm thinking, okay, maybe I might have to say some funeral thing, because it always was in my mind that Aunt Carol was going to call me after Grandma died and said, would you like to do the eulogy? And I said, well, I need Mom's scrapbook, because obviously I get my material for all the 11 grandchildren and pretty much the 10 great-grandchildren. So basically, I was not allowed. I was made a pallbearer, which was okay and all that, because I didn't know how to do it, and I did okay. I did slip a little bit, but that was my slip, not anyone else's slip. So anyway, I'll include you in what type of emotional tribute I was going to have for Grandma Diamond. I did say like a few words of faith and all that. It wasn't much. It was just 2 lines, but everyone complimented me because Grandma Diamond. I'll tell you one thing about Grandma Diamond. I always was reading stuff. Grandma Diamond always read stuff in front of the Bright Church and all that, and I did too, like in front of Bright and Chesterfield. Never did Washington or Platteville. I did go to Platteville United Church. Well, now it's called Peace United because it amalgamated the 4 churches. I did go to that 1 year of summer camp, and that was when Platteville had its 200th anniversary in 1996, if I remember correctly. So anyway, I like the suit. I think I like the rock a suit once in a while, but I'm not that type of guy. I'm just a laid-back person. A little too laid-back sometimes. Anywho, so Grandma Diamond died at just passed her 96th birthday. Thank goodness we had a party for her, and she knew she had a party. She kind of, like Aunt Carol puts it, made up her mind that she was going to go because she was too much of a nuisance for people. So basically, Grandma, of course, did a lot for the kids and their spouses, and of course their grandkids and the great-grandkids. There were 8 grandkids who came to the funeral. Me, Edward, Christine, Randy, Keith, Tim, Heather, and Jennifer. Allison had to deal with her 4 kids. Gregory's in California, and Melanie's out in British Columbia. So, unfortunately, those 3 couldn't come and all that. There was a great-grandchild representation. My nephew Bentley came. My niece did not come because, well, she was at school, and at her age, I think it was kind of strange. But there were some travel issues that why Bentley could have went to daycare, but they brought him. And Bentley was a good kid. I mean, he was fine at the funeral and all that. I got well-behaved kids. I mean, I wish there was a term for a niece and a nephew. I can just call like both the same name and not a niece and nephew. Regardless. So basically, Grandma Diamond did a lot for the 11 grandchildren. Of course, being at a few weddings, saying grace at Keith and Becky's wedding, doing the royal wave, I think not when Allison and Nick got married. No, Allison and Nick didn't got married in Switzerland, but there was some kind of ceremony. No, it was Melanie and Adam. I had some issues getting time off because it was the long weekend, the civic long weekend, so I couldn't go, unfortunately. So anyway, yeah, Grandma was there for a lot of people. She was there for graduations and commitments, or no, not communion, commitment ceremony. I don't know. I lost my train of thought. Confirmation. Thank God I found it. Grandma, I don't know how many confirmations and graduations she went to. I know Grandma went to my college graduation when I graduated college in 2008. She and my mom tag along. See me. Oh, there's a cat coming downstairs. Oh, sorry. It's just the orange, the 3-colored one. Wonder what she's up to. Regardless, yeah. Sorry about that. So anyway, yeah, she didn't get to go to my confirmation because she was out in either in Hawaii or in Western Canada at that time. I think it was out west. So that was one regret I think she said she had, that she wasn't there for my confirmation. Of course, that confirmation to the United Church, which I belong to. I don't really go to church a lot, but you know, that's my faith. Regardless, so you have Allison out, like Melanie seeing her great grandkid Tatum, babysitting, watching Allison's 4 kids. There's actually a few pictures of her holding Allison's 4th kid. Pretty much helping out with Tim, Keith, Heather, and Randy being on the farm a lot, being on their farm a lot, and of course on the farm a lot with my dad and Mom, because that's the farm where she grew up and raised her 4 kids. Of course, Uncle Ken died in 1973, so yeah, she was, and of course Dad somehow got the farm. She was pretty helpful. She picked gourd, did potatoes and all that. That's what Dad wrote down in his little thing. And Mom said a lot about how she babysat us kids, you know, Edward, Christine, and myself. And there was lots of talk about going down to the Bright store, grabbing a treat and all that. Walking around with Grandma because she was a big celebrity in Bright. Both Gregory and Edward said that. Christine said some stuff too. Yeah. So yeah, going to the baseball games both in Bright and at the Rogers Center in Toronto. If memory serves me right, they did it from 89 to 2007, and then I actually didn't go to all the games. I was 8 years old in 93 when I went to my first Blue Jays game, and that was every summer, 93 to 07. I can't remember the record, but the Blue Jays won a lot more. I don't think the Blue Jays ever lost back-to-back years when we went down at all. If they lose, they win the next year. I have to check my stats, but I'm sure that's what happened. So anyway, like I was going to say, stuff from all the grandchildren, like pieces, because technically I was the one she helped the most, and I got the most attention, and I went down to Bright, I think like 3 or 4 weeks in the summer. I got to go down to Bright and all that, spend time with Grandma Diamond. Even when I was in high school, I spent a lot of time with Grandma's, but I did the grass. I cut her grass and all that. I did a few odd jobs around her house and all that. Oh, and you know, they're talking about Crokinole and Racco. Racco I wasn't into. Uno I was just getting into, and that's why I started playing Uno. Crokinole, table hockey I couldn't do well with the rods and all that. Also all the books I used to read, all the toys I used to play with. Yeah. I got pretty much spoiled a lot as the youngest grandchild. I got spoiled more than I should have got spoiled. I always managed to get hockey cards from up at the Bright store where it used to be. I used to get, no, I don't think I got hockey cards anywhere else, but there. I still have a ton of them, of the ones I got from Grandma Diamond. There were a lot of sports books that I managed to finagle. I used to finagle a magazine from her. Every year it would be either baseball or football or hockey. I made sure to, when I go down to Grandma Diamond's, I grab those ones. I wasn't really much into basketball, so I didn't really get those ones ever. Like I always kept them for my own personal records and tried to make teams out of them and all that, and wrote them down on the papers and tried to do box scores and all that. My big mistake was bringing it home because my mom was not happy with that and ripped them up. Well, Grandma was really good to, you know, make me keep at my sports stuff. I mean, I know she could have just said, Jeffrey, lay back on it, cut back on it. She didn't mind, you know, it kept me busy. I always liked to watch baseball, like the Jays, even the Expos. If the Expos games were on 61, sorry about that, some kind of web thing wants me to install something. So anyway, it used to be on channel 61 SRC. I always watch the Expos games and all that. My mom was not happy when I tried to watch the Expos games in French on TV at home. I mean, that's understandable. I mean, I understand what Mom was doing at the time. But yeah, I managed to watch the Expos games. Grandma didn't mind because Grandma said, as long as you know, you can understand it, you can watch it. Yeah, and you know, there weren't a lot of times I went down to Grandma Diamond's on a weekend for football, watching football. I did watch a few football games. I remember going down to Grandma's one day and sneakily trying to get the score of the Cleveland-Pittsburgh game because of the wild card weekend. Like, I watched the first half of it at Grandma's and then went back home and then managed to find out that Pittsburgh came back to beat Cleveland, which was happy. Makes me happy, yay. Yeah, I think I watched a few Grey Cups at Grandma Diamond's house, if memory serves me right. But anyway, yeah, and hockey games. I used to go down, sometimes on Saturdays when I was younger, Grandma and I went down to, I guess it was Ethel Cassidy's house, yeah, and watched the hockey game. I remember watching the Leaf game against, I can't remember who it was, but it was the same day as Patrick Waugh's blow up against Detroit, beg pardon, when Detroit beat him 11-1. So yeah, those were fun times, always watching the sports and all that. Grandma didn't really mind. I used to watch Jeopardy too with Grandma Diamond. I used to have if I get 10 questions right, well, I didn't phrase them in the answer to the question, I did pretty well. So basically, Grandma Diamond, yeah, you know, Grandma was impressed how much I knew. And, you know, when I was younger, like 12, 13, all that, I always secretly wished I could go on Jeopardy and make Grandma happy, but unfortunately, travel, and I think, how am I going to afford to fly out of fly to California if I make it. Well, of course, I'm not at my age, you know. I mean, Sports Jeopardy, I wish I did, but stupidly, you're not allowed if you're Canadian. Well, yeah. That was fun times. Yeah, it was fun times. There was often times one of my cousins got to sleep with me. I got to stay at the same time as me. I think usually the cousins, like, they would have the times and pick and play. Yeah, Grandma always entertained us and all that. That was amazing. I used to play bingo. I can't remember if it was Jennifer, my cousin, or Bethany Humphrey, who lived next door to Grandma Diamond. Like, I think it was Jennifer. Like, we were playing bingo and all that, and the number was called G57, and we all had bingo at the same time. Nobody else had a bingo on any other number. It was funny. I used to love playing Scrabble with Grandma Diamond, too. I mean, Grandma did pretty well. And I remember one instance, I think it was 13, 14 at the time. She says, well, I'm going to put down a word, which is a bad word, but it's in the Bible. And she puts ass down. You know, ass is a donkey. And I'm like, yeah, I know that. Yeah, and Grandma Diamond had all these Christmas gatherings at her house. Either them or at Uncle Glenn and Aunt Ibby's. But always liked going down to Grandma Diamond's for Christmas and all that. Even when Everett and I moved to Kitchener. Yeah, we went down a few times and all that. It was fun. Now, I know that a lot of my cousins didn't like went to the baseball game just for fun. Jay's game just for fun and, you know, for family time and all that. And in the last few years, and I think Tim said it, that I was the only one to take it seriously. But when you come into our house, as in Canada's house, you're going to get a butt whooping. And that's that. You know, it's national pride, people. National pride. I think that's the last I'm going to yell. Well, regardless. Yeah, Grandma did a lot for me. Especially growing up, going to speech therapy and going to some kind of preschool. I think it's in Ingersoll or something. I can't remember. Yeah, Grandma did pretty well. You know, Mom and Dad had jobs and, you know, tried to get me into therapy and always been there when I went to CPRI in London and Stratford and other places too. Yeah. I admit I did cry at the funeral and all that. I had to. But I didn't bawl my eyes out. I just was upset. I just went to Grandma's coffin. I just placed a hand on her thing and just whispered, thank you. Thank you for everything you've done for me over the years. I appreciate it. Because Grandma Diamond was really a big inspiration to me. Basically, Grandma gave me a lot of hope and encouragement and all that to get in the sports field. And although it never happened, and I wish it does happen one of these days, because I will owe it all to Grandma Diamond, because that's how I got into sports in the first place. She was always so kind and, you know, letting me do my stats and stuff. We're all going to miss Grandma Diamond. Every one of her grandchildren and great-grandchildren are going to miss her. I'm going to miss her a lot because of what she did when I grew up and all that. I always made sure in the back of my head to always thank Grandma for everything, because Grandma Diamond is a saint. And she touched everyone's lives in Plattsville bright. Yeah. So, thank you for listening to this long and winded video. I tried to make it, I want to make it short because I have to go to the bathroom right now. But thanks for watching. It's Jeff Diamond signing off for now. Thank you.